I wanted to ask you about Butler
Yeah.
because I like to promote the local universities. So, what has getting a master's degree, master's in creative writing,
Mm.
what has that brought to your writing that just a degree or a high school education wouldn't have brought? He asked facetiously.
Yeah, no, I think it was an amazing experience. I loved being at Butler. They are one of the few schools in the area who were really open to me writing genre fiction. Um, there are some people out there who kind of, don't don't appreciate or don't enjoy or don't want to work on genre fiction. And Butler was very supportive of that. They welcomed me. They had classes on young adult writing. Um, and if nothing else, like, I mean, I learned so much there. You learn from critiquing others. You learn from, reading your own stuff and looking at it critically and getting critiques. But just having that time, sitting down and writing. And that's where I wrote A Touch of Gold, was in that program. And I'll kind of tell you a funny story of something that happened there, just to kind of show you how much I really appreciate them. So like I said, there are a lot of places that don't appreciate young adult, they don't appreciate fantasy, sci-fi, that kind of stuff, because they don't think it's literary fiction. And there are a lot of programs that only do literary fiction. So I thought, okay, coming into this program, like, they're going to ostracize me if I don't do literary fiction. So for my very first story that I turned in for a critique workshop, I was like, I must be super literary or they're going to hate me. And so I turned in this awful, awful short story about like a man who accidentally kills his wife in a car wreck because he's too proud to wear his glasses, his new glasses. And so it's a really like just sad, awful story. And I hate sad, awful stories. But I was like, oh, it's so literary. They're just gonna love this. I turned it in and my classmates hated it. They just hated it. And I went out to my car afterwards and cried because they tore that thing to shreds. But then as I was sitting there crying, I realized, like, you know what? That wasn't me. That's not what I want to write. That was me trying to be what I thought they wanted me to be. So I was like, all right, if I'm going to go back in there, which I thought about quitting right then and there because I was like, maybe this is not for me. I was like, if I'm going to go back in there, I'm going in as me. And if that doesn't go well, we'll see what happens. So for my very second critique workshop, I turned in the first chapter of what would become A Touch of Gold, and they loved it. Not because they particularly loved fairy tales or fantasy, but because they could tell the writing was there, and that's what I was good at. And so they encouraged me, and they guided me. And so I really am very appreciative of everything that Butler did and taught me, and for the time it gave me to write and made me write, because, you have to turn things in on deadlines. So just that experience was really amazing.
Like every writer's got that terrible workshop story that you just had to do one. I had
Right.
the literary. That's what I say. It's literature. I am an author. That's how I think when I read these Pushcart Prize winning stories that are really great for like the 50 subscribers to Pushcart, and the rest of the world's not aware of. Pushcart Prize, you're welcome to come on the show anytime. I'd love to chat with you.
Yeah.
But I wrote one about a dying hooker that I called "Damsel in Distress," which I thought was just a piece of garbage. And I'm talking to the professor afterward, and he's like, we get at least 2 dying hooker stories a year, right? I'm like, oh, well, that one's mine.
You're like, I'm one of those too.
So cross that off my list of things to do. Next up,
Yeah.
then the next thing I wrote was a horror story. I'm like, oh, that's much more me. I don't need to worry about being important and literary allusions and writing for the ages and all of that stuff.
Yes.
I don't want to read that stuff. So why would I want to?
Exactly.
I do.
You have to you want to read and what speaks to you, because it's gonna feel forced and awful if it's not what you want to write. So yeah, definitely find your voice, people. Find what you want to write.
And while we're talking about Indiana, I would absolutely be remiss if I didn't ask you about your experience working with the Indiana Writer Center.
Oh yeah, I love them. I'd been a teacher there a couple of times, and just the students there, the quality of students is amazing. I love working with them. I love teaching there. I love how open everyone is to learning. I've taught a class on book publicity, And then I was going to teach one on like fairy tales, I think. I need to schedule another class with them actually at some point when I get some time. That's my whole life right now. It's like I'll do that when I get some time. So the busy life of a writer, which you would think would be like nice and quiet and you could be like a recluse, like living in your house, but no. So many other things you have to do. So, but no, I do love the Indiana Writers Center and can't wait to do more with them.
If it was an option for you to be a recluse in your house, Miss, I've been to all 7 continents and I'm diving with sharks. Is that really something that would appeal to you?
Yes, right now it totally would, because I'm just so tired all the time that I'm just like, I could do it. I mean, if I had like, food delivery service, I'd be good for a while, a good long while. Or maybe I'd transfer to like a recluse on the beach every 6 months. I'd like alternate so I could still get a little travel time in there.
That'd be perfect.
I would be my recluse. Is that possible?
I mean, if there was one way to be a writer and it worked out perfectly, I would have identified it by now, because I've talked to enough writers that I'm listening for those similar things. And as soon as I hear like 3 people tell me that we all do this and we are immediately successful every time, I'm like, I'm done. I'm doing that from now on.
Yeah.
So far,
Yeah.
I haven't identified it.
Well, you let me know if you find out a way to be like a semi-recluse. I'm in.
I think stay-at-home dad is the way to do it. That's why I'm so excited about my 5-year-old going to school full time now, as I'm able to get out and about and do more author events and things. I'm like, I'm out of the house, and I haven't listened to Elmo like all day. It's great.